Picking the right Instagram influencer for fast growth. What's going on, guys? Thor here, back with a new video, and in this video I wanted to talk about Instagram influencers, and I'm going to be showing you guys the process that I go through when picking an influencer to basically do Instagram growth with, to basically promote my ads on. So if you want to grow your page by the use of Instagram influencers, there are a couple of steps that you need to follow in order to find basically the perfect influencer for your account, because there are a lot of influencers out there basically using fake engagement and all this type of stuff. So you really want to be following these steps so that you can ensure that the person you find and promote your ad on is going to give you results. Step number 1, check for fake numbers. The first thing you have to do is to check for fake engagement. Basically analyze the influencers' accounts and pictures and look that the engagement is not fake. As you guys know, there are a lot of influencers, including myself, using both engagement groups, rounds, and power likes to basically boost the engagement to increase the chances of reaching the explore page, etc, etc. For that reason, you want to make sure that the engagement on the influencer's page is not only coming from these sources, but also from different sources, basically being active followers. Now, I'm not saying that using rounds or power likes or any of that stuff, DM groups as well, is a bad thing. I'm just saying that when you're choosing an influencer, you want to make sure that the engagement is not coming from these sources only, because obviously if they were to only come from these sources, you wouldn't grow your page. You wouldn't, there would be no point in using that influencer, because nobody would really see the post. A lot of people that talk about finding influencers on Instagram basically tell about this rule that the influencer has to have over 3 or 5% engagement, and if the influencer has that amount of engagement, it's a good influencer. But I don't really believe in this because of what I just said, because this engagement can easily come from other sources that aren't the followers of this page. So what I would rather do than checking the amount of engagement is to actually look at the likes itself and see if these likes are coming from, for example, pages in the same niche. Because if the likes are coming from only pages in the same niche, it's a very high chance that these are influencers, I mean power likes or DM group likes. So you basically want to see if the likes are rather coming from random people basically following the page. You also want to check the comments, see if the comments are legit. There are different you have power comments, for example, which also helps boosting the comments. So you can really just analyze the comments and see if the comments are coming from the same type of niche pages, because if the comments are from only the same niche as the influencer, then you can be sure that it's power comments and not comments from engaging followers. So basically ensure or check that the comments are also coming from engaging followers. Now I would also ask the influencer about screenshots from the reach. So basically ask the influencer if you can screenshot maybe the 10 latest images, the reach of these images, so that you can see that the reach obviously is much higher than the engagement. Because if the post has maybe 3,000 likes and 3,000 in reach, then it's definitely not engagement from his followers, but rather from, for example, say power likes or rounds or DM groups, whatever it is, maybe even fake likes. So really make sure that the reach is very high as well. Now I would also be careful about buying promotions from pages that use purely viral content to grow, because the reach on viral content on these pages vary a lot. So you don't know if your posts are, for example, going to get 10,000 in reach or 100,000 in reach. You simply don't know, because these pages have such a spread variety of reach on post to post because of the power likes. So I would rather look at pages, for example, not posting that type of content, not posting viral content, because the reach is much more consistent, so you can be sure that you'll basically get a decent amount of reach rather than just a random number either being very high or very low. Or if you're not buying a promotion on the feed, if you're buying a story promotion, then it doesn't really matter if it's a viral page or not, because the reach on stories usually is very consistent. Just make sure that you ask for screenshots on the reach on the story as well, so that you know you'll actually reach people. So just to conclude that step, make sure that you're finding influencers that don't post that much viral content, so that you know that the reach is consistent, so that you're basically not risking not getting any reach on the promotion at all. And also make sure that you analyze the influencers' likes, comments, and basically overall engagement to ensure that the followers are basically engaging targeted followers from that page. Step number 2 is asking for demographics. Now, one thing I want to say before I move on is that when you're actually reaching out to an influencer, keep in mind that these people are busy people. They probably get a lot of people asking them about a lot of stuff because they have big pages. I mean, when you have 100,000 followers on your page, you probably have like 1,000 unanswered DMs. So don't bombard them with like 20 questions, because if you do that, they're simply not going to reply. So what I would simply do is to just ask them one question, and that is, what are your rates? And that is basically just you asking them what the prices are, and then they will reply back with the prices. And then when the conversation starts, they know that you're interested in buying a promotion. Then you can start asking about more of these deep questions, where you basically get an analysis of their page so that you can be sure that the page is actually legit and you're not wasting your money. So yeah, once the conversation has actually started, you can start asking for the demographics as well, and make sure that they send basically screenshot the demographics. You can see an example right here of demographics. You really want to make sure that the demographics are real, so that they're not just saying a random number and they're not actually sending you screenshots, because they could be making up any number to make you buy. So what you basically want to be asking for here, or looking for on these demographics, is basically the countries where the followers are coming from. You want to make sure that ideally the followers are either coming from Europe or the US or Australia, because these are highly engaging audience. These are also people that are used to buying a lot of stuff on Instagram, and also are English speaking countries. Because the thing is, say that all the followers from, for example, India are highly engaging followers, like the followers from India is probably some of the most engaging followers on Instagram. Like the engagement on those pages with Indian followers are really, really high. But the thing is, if you're going to sell something, these followers aren't really typical buyers on Instagram. So if you're, for example, selling something on a promotional page or your page, it's cool that like maybe you'll get a lot of followers from this page if it has a lot of Indian followers, or African followers or whatever. But the thing is that if you actually want to monetize your page at a later state, it's going to be hard with this type of followers, because they aren't really typical buyers. Typical buyers on Instagram usually tend to come from countries like Australia, England, like typical European countries, or from the United States and stuff like that. So that's just a pro tip if your goal is basically to sell something on your Instagram account at a later state. But if you're purely looking at growth, I wouldn't really care. And step number 3 is again to ask for the reach. Now I did touch a little bit on this, but make sure you're actually asking them a question about the reach, where they both send a screenshot like this of basically the profile, where you can see all the analysis of the profile and basically the average impressions, but also screenshots like this so that you can see the reach on every single post, because you really want to make sure that the reach is there, that they're not scamming you, that you actually know that you're going to be reaching a solid audience. So that is pretty much what you need to follow in order to find a good influencer. Make sure you really do your research, look at different influencers, ask different influencers as well, ask like maybe 5 or 10 influencers, so that you can get the prices from all of them and then choose the cheapest one, because you don't want to be spending money on an influencer that is very expensive when you have one here that is just much cheaper. So really do your research, guys, and also make sure that the influencer you're choosing is in the correct niche, that he actually is in the same niche as you. And yeah, that is pretty much what you need to follow in order to find the right influencer. If you enjoyed this video, guys, make sure you smash that like button. Now I'm also going to be starting to be more active on other social platforms like Snapchat, so if you want to add me on Snapchat and connect with me there, maybe ask me some questions, whatever you want, just don't ask me about reviewing your page, because I simply don't have time to go on Snapchat, find your page, go to Instagram, review it, go back on Snapchat, give you the review report. I simply don't have time for that. So like, if you want to ask me simple questions, that's cool, just add me on Snapchat. If you just want to see whatever I do, cool, add me on Snapchat. But anyways, I'm really going to be starting to be more active on both Snapchat and Instagram, so expect more posts on both of those platforms. Anyways, again, smash that like button, go down below and subscribe if you are new to my channel, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.